I can still remember it. I was an 18-year-old man at the time, and I had about 500 US dollars in my pocket. There's lots of things to do and to see and to feel and to be part of this great, unique little island in the Mediterranean. We have one particular temple which is underground, which is quite unique in the world because you don't normally get temples of this age which are underground. In fact, it is the only one in the world which is underground. We're talking very affordable levels, with a good meal and a bottle of wine, etc., costing you about $60, $70 max. It was a way of helping manufacturing companies come into Malta, make it very simple for them to set up shop, help them in the first few weeks, few months of setting up shop. This year, we are having a particularly significant event, which is bringing the ministers of tourism, or as you would call them, the Secretary of States for Tourism from the Mediterranean region, to come and meet in Malta and discuss and possibly agree a plan to start marketing the Mediterranean as a destination.
TV Sunday, the power of truth.
Tony, thank you very much for joining us. It's our great pleasure to welcoming you.
Thank you very much, Kiran, and I'm so happy to be on your show. Thank you for welcoming me. And
Technology rule the world. How we connect from New York City to Malta. It's amazing.
yeah, it's
So,
incredible.
while going through your biodata, oh my God, you have done a lot. I'm so impressed. It's amazed that somebody can do such a wonderful job in his lifetime, and still you are active in the industry. And tourism industry in Malta is very honored having a personality like you. But tell me something that how you started your tourism career.
Ah, that's a good point. It was a long time ago, Karen, but I can still remember it. I was an 18-year-old man at the time, and I had about 500 US dollars in my pocket, and I had a great dream of becoming something in my life. But with 500 US dollars in my pocket, the only thing I could do at the time was buy a car and do chauffeur work, do taxi work. So I did that for about 15 months before we started growing the company into what it is today. So very small beginnings. It was a wonderful time. I enjoyed myself tremendously, taking people around the island, showing them what we have.
So, Tony, thank you very much for telling something about how you started your career. Now, let us know something that you are a veteran personalities in tourism in Malta. Why people need to visit this tiny country in Europe? Please, can you explain?
Sure, Karen, the island is a tiny island. It is
Yeah.
only 331 square kilometers. However, it has an enormous history. It goes back to 5,000 years before Christ, 7,000 years from now. It has temples which predate the pyramids in Egypt, and that gives you an idea of the history that we have here in Malta. And when I say temples, you can actually see the temples. They are there. It's not just one stone where somebody said there was a temple here once. You can actually see them. Most of these temples were buried underneath rock and soil. And so when they were uncovered, they were very much still in more or less intact. We have one particular temple which is underground, which is quite unique in the world because you don't normally get temples of this age which are underground. In fact, it is the only one in the world which is underground. Then, of course, we have the latter history. Particularly, we have the period of the Knights of Malta, which were here a power in the Mediterranean from the 15th to the 18th century, and they left an enormous heritage in buildings. We have an excellent Baroque city in Valletta, an extremely beautiful old city in Mdina, and then we have also part of the history is the English connection, where the British were here for 150 years. Then, of course, we have the climate. The climate is
Yes, of
extremely
course.
beautiful. It's nice and sunny, temperate weather. Most of the time, it's springtime here, and the sea around us is absolutely incredible. It's the blue Mediterranean. You can dive, and we have a lot of divers coming to Malta. So there's lots of things to do and to see and to feel and to be part of this great, unique little island in the Mediterranean.
Visiting or trip in these days are really expensive because of the airfare, because of the price hiking of a hotel and food as well. So how do you say about Malta tourism? Is it still affordable, or it's just like a luxurious tourism as well only?
Well, Malta is part of the European Union and part of the euro. So our costs have risen over the years, but we still have a very competitively priced product here. A good five-star hotel for a room for one night will cost you about 180 to $200. So we're not talking big bucks here. We're talking very affordable levels, with a good meal and a bottle of wine, etc., costing you about $60, $70 max. The cost of living is very, very reasonable here. I wouldn't say it is cheap because I don't think there is anywhere else, anywhere in the world, which is cheap nowadays, but it is very competitive when you compare it to the major cities in Europe.
As you said, the facilities are amazing. Natural beauties are so breathtaking, and the island is itself also. There are a lot of beaches and many more things to enjoy in the sea, and likewise, the affordable to every kinds of tourists. So, if I plan a trip for a week for Malta, how much you would like to say that I have to manage money?
If you were talking about a 7 day stay, let's
Yeah,
say the average stay in Malta actually is 7 days, so
yeah,
7 nights. So basically, I think if you talk about the hotel room costing about $200, so about $2,000 for the week, including meals. But
man.
then, if you want to do diving or if you want to rent a boat for a day, that would be on top of those $2,000.
Of
So
course. So tell me something about the air connection or a road connection from Europe. Any country of the Europe is accessible. But what about the air connection, like airports and travel and airlines? People, if you want to from United States or South America or Asia or Africa, is there easy accessible from airlines?
yeah, absolutely. We are connected to about 90 European or North African airports. So you can use from America. You probably have to use a gateway, either London Heathrow or Frankfurt, or from South America, Madrid or Lisbon to get to Malta because we don't have direct flights from the US or South America. However, all the major airports in Europe will have a direct flight into Malta. So coming to Malta is reasonably easy, and we do get a lot of American tourists that would be mostly doing two or three different countries in Europe, and Malta would be one of those two or three different countries that they would be doing.
Yeah.
You cannot drive to Malta in so far as we have the sea all around us.
Mm.
However, you
Yeah.
can actually drive down to Sicily, and we have got a very good connection by catamaran. So you can drive onto the catamaran, and the crossing is only 90 minutes from Sicily to Malta.
Connection from Europe is very good and accessible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely. So Tony, let me talk something about your leadership. Like you were a chair, you have been a chairman of Boston Holding Limited. Can you tell me something about this company that you are leading?
Absolutely. Bastion Holdings is a financial services company. we provide a number of services here in Malta. Primarily, we're in the foreign exchange business and in the payments business. We represent here Western Union, a name that you probably know quite well. We then also do funds, we do fund management, and we do also pensions. So Pension Holdings actually is the financial services arm of the group. It was established about 25 years ago. We're licensed by the Malta Financial Services Authority. We have 3 licenses there. Very active, young team, and mostly led by women.
You are also the president of Malta Hotels and Restaurant Association. So tell me something about hospitality, like hotel and restaurants in Malta, and what
Okay.
your organization exactly do.
Okay, we are a very, very strong lobby group with government, very active. We participate in the decision making. In fact, during the pandemic, our association was very instrumental in convincing government to help the industry, especially the workers in the industry, by providing support in terms of wages and salaries, and it was very generous support. We are also very active with the Malta Tourism Authority when it comes to promoting the island, the inward bound tourists. We're very active with the airlines, so we are facilitating the easy entry into services by new airlines. So we're very, very much active in that area. And then we're very active in the industry locally, where we provide a lot of training to our employees, to the employees of our members. We probably now have about 90% of the industry which are members of our organization. And we then do a number of activities during the year. Particularly, we have the Mediterranean Tourism Forum, where we bring a lot of people from around the Mediterranean to Malta to talk tourism. It's a focal point for tourism. Malta, it's a great place to hold these type of meetings.
Do you have any data like how many hotels are there and how many restaurants are there? Do you have that?
Yes, yeah, there's about, in terms of hotels, there is about 130 hotels, and then there are what today are called the boutique hotels. The boutique hotels, I would tend to think, will have about 40 in Malta. Restaurants or catering establishments, we've got about 3,000.
Yeah.
So it's pretty big numbers for a small island of 500,000 population.
But still, that's a remarkable number, and I believe that all the hotels have really good quality and wonderful service. I believe so.
Absolutely.
And one more thing, that once you lead the Malta Industry Parks Limited, what kind of industry was that?
At the time, and Malta Industrial Park still has 10 industrial parks. These are areas where manufacturing has its basis. Our job was to provide the accommodation, the factories, the factory space, and maintain the industrial estates to a very high level. So it was a way of helping manufacturing companies come into Malta, make it very simple for them to set up shop, help them in the first few weeks, few months of setting up shop, in terms of providing not only the accommodation, but providing the power, providing all the services that are necessary in order that you can have a rapid startup happening, and ensuring that the bureaucratic part of the startup is handled efficiently and quickly. We had about 1,000 tenants in total in these 8 or 10 industrial estates. And after the startup, of course, we always help them in any expansion plans they had, and generally ensured that they had a smooth an operation as possible, and let them concentrate on doing what they're best at doing, which is manufacturing whatever they were manufacturing and selling it abroad.
And Tony, one thing I directly want to ask you that you have been appointed multiple position by the Malta government, multiple, and those are really, sensitive, high profile, and in terms of responsibility, those positions are in a top priority. Tell me that how did you perform those things, and what are the reason that government select you for those responsibilities?
It's not my good looks, Kurt, for sure. Well, basically, I believe I bring to the table a wide era of experiences. I've served as a director on our national airline, a director on the airport, the Malta Development Corporation, where we brought in manufacturers from all over Europe. So basically, I believe that governments have a requirement to have business people within their teams in order to make life as easy and as simple for other business people. And this has been the reason why government has asked me many times to contribute towards the efficient running of the government. Please remember also that the island is only there's only 500,000 population here, so it's not like we have a few million as a pool and many people from where to choose from. It's a tiny area, and because of that, you also get to know the people that are running the country very quickly. And of course, because of previous appointments, previous management of public entities that I've had, governments tend to want to take on somebody that has had the experience of running a private enterprise, but also running a government enterprise, which is quite different in terms of accountability. When you're running a public enterprise, it is very different in terms of accountability than when you're running a private enterprise. A public enterprise, you're accountable all the time to everybody and everywhere, whereas a private enterprise, you're accountable to your shareholders only.
How do you feel being honored when you make something different? And how you like to underline your achievements and contribution in tourism in Malta?
Very interesting area of tourism in Malta. It remains the ability to provide a hospitable environment for those coming to the island. And our objective should be to make the visit as memorable an experience as possible, and give them the traditional Maltese hospitality for which we have been known for many years now. This is what I believe we should be aiming for all of the time, to give that truly Maltese welcome.
That is absolutely amazing. What is your future plan, Tony? Because you have spent many decades in tourism, and maybe tourism in Malta is in a really good shape nowadays. So, what do you think that you are planning for future?
The tourism has been here now in its present form for about 50 years. I
Yeah.
think we can be here for many more years to come, provided we maintain our hospitality, our culture, and our ability to welcome people in the traditional way. It doesn't change much. People want to arrive to experience what we have here as heritage from our forefathers, and to have a safe and a very pleasant stay in Malta. And this is what we have to concentrate on providing over and over and over again. And people will come all the time.
I think this is something incredible moment that you enjoy in your life. What it makes sense to you receiving that most prestigious honor from the head of the state?
It was amazing, Corinne. It was an amazing feeling, and I can assure you that for me this honor is tremendous, and it gives me much more satisfaction than if I had been given a recognition in terms of monetary requirements. This is something which is given every year to a select number of people, not a great deal of people receive this Order of Merit. And I'm so happy and delighted to be forming part of this small and unique group who have received this Order of Merit over the last few years.
It's a great pleasure talking to you. It's a wonderful time. And eventually, would you mind to explain a little bit about Malta Tourism Forum that you guys are going to organize?
We bring together something like 1,500 people, maybe a little bit more, mostly from the Mediterranean business basin, people as far apart as Turkey on the eastern side of the Mediterranean, and Spain on the western side of the Mediterranean. So we do have about 1,000 people coming in from all over the Mediterranean, plus about 500 or so from the industry in Malta. This year, we are having a particularly significant event, which is bringing the ministers of tourism, or as you would call them, the Secretary of States for Tourism from the Mediterranean region, to come and meet in Malta and discuss and possibly agree a plan to start marketing the Mediterranean as a destination. The Mediterranean brand is incredibly good, and we want now to go further with this and do this jointly as a Mediterranean group.
TV Sunday, the power of truth.